Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our annual awards banquet and ceremony, virtual banquet this year. But I still am excited about this evening. It's one of our favorite times of the year, one of our favorite events, when we can just pause for a moment and congratulate folks and acknowledge many people for their amazing work and their contributions and their accomplishments this year. So I'm excited to be doing this, even though it's in a super unusual way this time. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for being part of this. Obviously, a lot of things are really different this year. So the first thing is the department and myself and all of us send all of you our wishes and our good thoughts for safety and health. I hope everyone's taking care of themselves and doing as well as you can as we get close to finishing the semester. It's been a crazy, but in many ways, an inspiring time to see everybody rise to the occasion. So this will be fun tonight. We're joined by people literally all over the country, maybe the world, but I know we have some folks in California listening, and a lot of folks here in Blacksburg and Northern Virginia and all the places that you call home. Thanks for joining us. Even though a lot of things are different, crazy different, dramatically different this year, I think it's useful to just reflect for a second, and if you'll let me, I will, on what's still the same, right? There are some things that are still the same and that it's good to remind ourselves of. And one that comes to mind that I take a lot of reassurance in is just what Virginia Tech is about and what computer science is about, our department and you folks. Virginia Tech, I think, is an unusually resilient and resourceful and creative community. And we're seeing that again. And that is true, and it's gonna be true. We're gonna get through this. We have a lot of creativity, we have a lot of energy, a lot of adaptability. So thank you to each of you who have participated in that, to the faculty and the staff, and especially the students who have adjusted and adapted and just pushed through. We do not take it for granted, and we really appreciate the attitude and the energy that people have brought to these last 2 months or whatever it's been. Another thing that hasn't changed is that computer science is still super relevant and super interesting and important and meaningful. I've talked to a lot of faculty candidates, I've talked to a lot of students about to graduate who are obviously a little shaken by what's going on in the world, and I'm convinced that the relevance and the importance and the potential of what we're studying and creating and doing is growing, not shrinking. As we get through this, the importance of data and the cloud and networks and privacy and security, these issues are more important, not less. And so we're excited and motivated to be training and preparing amazing students to go out and contribute in the new world that emerges as we come through this pandemic season. So that hasn't changed either. And then finally, doing something like this hasn't changed either in terms of the motivation and the warrant, right? We still have great accomplishments to celebrate, great folks to recognize and honor for their contributions, for their personal achievements, for the things that they've done to help the department and each other move forward. And so we're not going to skip that this year, that's for sure. We're just doing it in a slightly different mode. And by the way, while I'm thinking of it, in terms of especially the student awards, this year was particularly difficult to select the ones that we're recognizing tonight. I mean, the folks that were involved in this pretty much uniformly said this was one of the most challenging years ever, which is a good thing. It means the quality and the number of people, doing wonderful things just keeps growing and growing and growing. And so if you know a student or you are a student who, maybe thought you were going to win tonight, I feel like we're at the Oscars now and we're going to show all the people who didn't win. But seriously, we had some amazing nominees, and we really struggled to figure out what were the manageable number of people that we were going to recognize. So it's a great sign of the quality and, as I say, the growth in the department. So most of these awards are individual awards, and they do focus on people by name, which is great. But I do want to say what I know that each of the people recognized tonight would say, and that is that every one of these recognitions to a person is really a recognition to a group, right? It does take a village, it takes a community And so each of you represent families, friends, colleagues, spouses, and on and on and on that are a big part of this. And so congratulations to all of you as well, especially any moms who got sent the link. Perfectly good thing to do. Thank you for joining us. All right, so we're going to move to the awards here in just a minute. I want to say one other general thing by way of introduction and say a little more about kind of how this is going to flow. But by way of broader introduction, even though, as I say, we are focused on a handful of individuals here, when we look back on this year as a department, as a community, there's a lot of things we'll remember, and there's some things we'll forget, but maybe we shouldn't. So the thing we'll remember, obviously, is the instantaneous, essentially, decision to go completely online, the pandemic, everything. That'll be in the history books. Of course, we will remember that. It's the defining thing that's happened, certainly, to this academic year. But I don't want to forget, many of the other big things that are happening in the department, and we want to make sure to just take a minute to celebrate those as well. It's been another really amazing year, even before the pandemic. Record enrollments at both the undergraduate and the graduate level, the biggest classes we've ever had in both those parts of our program. A super busy faculty hiring season, which is even now almost converged. I'll say a little more about that in a minute, but let's just say it's going well. Today was a very good day, in fact. What else? A lot of time spent planning and sort of negotiating for significant new space in the department. The faculty know about this, many of the students do, but the university has really gotten behind our department in terms of getting us some new space in Torgerson, which should start late this summer, early in the fall, and then some new buildings that are going to be coming online over the next couple of years, the so-called Data and Decisions building and the Gilbert Street building. And then beyond that, another year or two, an amazing new building that's going to go up in the Innovation Campus in Alexandria. So lots of exciting developments on the space front. Very high impact and important initiatives. Certainly the activity in blockchain has been very important and has generated a lot of really important interest in the community and across the state. And then obviously the biggest thing is all the developments connected to the Amazon HQ2 project and the investment from the state in both Blacksburg and in Northern Virginia in terms of faculty growth, student enrollment growth, and new infrastructure. So that's a pretty busy year and a pretty exciting year. And I think it's important to stop for a minute and just, recognize that, we've been fortunate to be able to work in that many interesting things. That said, so the agenda for tonight's pretty simple. You can hopefully see the program. We're going to recognize several undergraduates with awards and various recognitions. We're going to then turn to graduate students. Then we'll take a few minutes to recognize some faculty members for different accolades and awards. And then we'll definitely save some time at the end for sort of the highlight. And that is when we will recognize a couple of our alums with distinguished alumni awards. Now, from a technical point of view, here's how we think this might work with lots of grace and good humor. I'm going to hand it off here in a minute to Dr. Edwards, who's our Associate Head for Undergraduate Studies, and he's going to take us through the undergraduate awards. For those that are being recognized tonight, if you're with us, we would invite you, as you get close to your section of the program, to make sure your camera is on and you're not drinking anything too embarrassing. And then as you are recognized, we will shine a spotlight on you. We will feature your video feed. You'll get a chance just to say hi. You don't have to say anything, actually, just visually say hi, and we'll get a chance to at least put a face with the name, and then we'll seamlessly go back to the host, who will move on to the next awardee. One little best practice, if you would, the students all know that they can change their name in Zoom. It would be really nice if you left your name as more or less the name in the program, so that when the people behind the scenes running this amazing exercise seek to identify your camera, it doesn't say Spider-Man or the Black Widow or something. It has your exact name. We would appreciate that very, very, very much. All right, that's the plan. So with that, let me turn it over, I think, to Dr. Edwards, and he can take us through the undergraduate awards.
Thank you very much, Cal. All right. So my name is Steve Edwards, and I'm the Associate Department Head for Undergraduate Studies. And I'm going to go ahead and go through our undergraduate awards. We have a series of awards, some of which are academic, recognizing good academic performance, and others of which focus on students who have notable contributions to the community, to the department, in service, and that sort of thing. And so we're going to start off with the academic awards, and we're going to begin with our Sophomore Scholar Awards. For our sophomore scholars, we have four students, I believe, who we are highlighting this year. These students have all completed at least 3 semesters here at Virginia Tech and all have 4.0 GPAs. So our first Sophomore Scholar Award goes to Ryan Buxton. All right, our next Sophomore Scholar Award goes to Corey Koberlein. And I believe I saw Corey around. Okay, yes. Corey, can you jump on screen? Do you want to wave to everybody and say hello? And congratulations. We hope to see you again with the 4.0 next year. But this is to award your accomplishments so far here at Virginia Tech. Thank you. Our third Sophomore Scholar Award goes to Stephen Yang. And there's Stephen. Great, everyone. Very good. Congratulations, sir. Thank you very much. And like I said, we hope to see you maintaining that level of academic performance as you go through our program. And our fourth Sophomore Scholar Award goes to Ki-Ching Zhu. All right, congratulations. And so those individuals, I believe, are finishing their sophomore years. Yes, they're finishing their sophomore years. They're going to be rising juniors. We want to see them in the program next year. And now we're going to move on to this year's juniors. And again, we have 4 undergraduate students this year who are completing their junior years. They currently have 4.0 GPAs. And so we are going to recognize them. The first Junior Scholar Award goes to Jonathan Digert. Our second Junior Scholar Award goes to Chapman Pendry. All right, congratulations, Chapman. And our third Junior Scholar Award goes to Kara Probasco. All right, you're on video. Very good. Congratulations. All right, our next Junior Scholar Award goes to Yin Trong. And we are hoping to see you all complete your senior years with the same level of academic performance, and the scholarships that go along with all of these scholar awards are to help encourage that and also to recognize what you've accomplished so far. So finally, we have our Senior Scholar Awards. We have 3 seniors this year, 2 of which are graduating with 4.0s. Our first Senior Scholar Award goes to Yuqing Liu. There we go. All right, congratulations. And our second Senior Scholar Award goes to Neil Mangyokar. All right, congratulations, Neil. Graduating with a 4.0, very honorable. Did so many things in the department. You're well known around here. And finally, our third Senior Scholar Award goes to Emma Mino. Congratulations. And Emma, I'm not going to say much about you because you're coming up in a minute for another award. So those are our Scholar Awards. Now we have our Outstanding Senior Award. This is the outstanding student graduating this year who we nominated to the College of Engineering as the Outstanding Senior in Computer Science. And I recognize the student in the reading of the names for graduation this year. And our Outstanding Senior for 2020 is Emma. Congratulations, Emma. Emma's done a wide variety of great things in addition to graduating with a 4.0. The Outstanding Senior Award requires not only outstanding academic performance, but also a notable degree of service to the community and to the department. And Emma's really done very useful things for the department and is a great representative of our undergraduates. So congratulations on being our Outstanding Senior this year, Emma. All right. Next, we have the Heilman Award, the David Heilman Research Award. This award goes yearly in recognition of outstanding undergraduate research. And this year's winner is actually one of our senior scholars, Neil. Congratulations, Neil. We got several strong recommendations from faculty members, from students who participated in undergraduate research. However, the comments I got for you were particularly persuasive, and it's a shame that you weren't able to do anything at the VTurks poster fair this year because of the campus being shut down, but I think a lot of people would have been interested in what you were able to accomplish. But this award is in recognition of what you've been able to achieve in terms of undergraduate research. Congratulations. Next, we have our service award, and our service awards, we are recognizing 2 students for service in the department this year, both graduating seniors. And the first student for the service award is Ellis Jones, and she is one of our undergraduate TAs and also worked very hard in our Tech Girls program, a summer program sponsored by the State Department. And our next service award goes to Alexander Lind, not only for his participation in the as a UTA, but also for his work with the programming team and the high school programming contest, and the dedication, the hours that he's put in extracurricular activities. Do we have Alex? Oh, there we go. Congratulations. All right. For our next awards, we have our undergraduate teaching assistant awards. And the first undergraduate teaching assistant award goes to Carolyn Bonds. Hello, congratulations. We actually received a number of nominations, far more UTAs who have outstanding performance who were nominated than we were able to give awards to, but we were honored to be able to give this to you especially. Our second undergraduate teaching assistant award goes to Beth Hesham, who also participated in the Tech Girls summer program in addition to being an undergraduate teaching assistant. Okay, and finally, we have, as our undergraduate program, we do have a set of computer science ambassadors who work doing service throughout the year for the department. They do everything from hosting our information sessions for prospective students and the prospective families, to helping out with the open houses or open house tables that we have that the college runs, to various other activities that we have, even our information sessions for general engineering students, and providing not just a friendly face, but someone who other people can talk to find out the perspective of a computer science student in our department. And this year we wanted to recognize 3 ambassadors who have gone above and beyond for their ambassador service to the department. And the first Computer Science Ambassador Award goes to Alyssa Farrell. Hello, Alyssa. Congratulations, and thank you for all you've done for the department. Our next Ambassador Award goes to Natalia Jacobo. Congratulations. I know I saw you at several information sessions and other events in the department throughout the year, and we really appreciate all that all of you have done. And our third Ambassador Award goes to Barbara O'Connor. So the 3 of you should feel really good about the contributions you made to the department. You've really stood out, and normally we don't give out 3 awards, but this year we wanted to stretch and give 3 because all 3 of you are so deserving. So congratulations. And finally, for our last undergraduate award, we have the George W. Gorsline Memorial Scholarship. This is an award that we give each year typically to a rising senior, a junior, who has usually, George is the founding chairperson of the Department of Computer Science, and was always the champion of the underdog. And this scholarship, which is funded by a memorial fund set up by some alums and George's wife, we use to recognize students who have perhaps suffered some significant academic adversity, some setbacks, but they've come back. They've come back in a stellar, exemplary fashion to show what it really means to be a computer science student at Virginia Tech, and we want to recognize those students. So this year we have one student to recognize, who is Kyle Forst. It doesn't look like Kyle is on, but we congratulate him for the degree, for his comeback within the computer science department. He has really turned his academic career around, and this scholarship should help him continue in that vein for his senior year next year. And I believe that is it for the undergraduate awards. And so it's time for me to turn it over to Cliff Schaefer for the graduate awards. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. So today I have the privilege of announcing several awards for graduate students, and I'm going to start with two awards that actually are not CS department awards. We had two students who won university level awards, and if you think about how many departments there are in this university, and there aren't that many awards, so getting two of them is a pretty good coup for us. So the first is one of only two awards in the entire university for Graduate Student of the Year. And the winner of this is Negin Foruzesh. And she's on. And I guess gotta embarrass her a little bit. So yeah, so she is one of only two people that I can think of in the department who kind of got the triple crown. So a couple of years ago, she was our, I believe, GTA of the year. And then last year, for some particularly strong service related to grad council, she was our service award. And this year, thankfully, for reasons that I'll explain in a few minutes, the university picked her up and gave her that, because I'll explain why. That didn't actually solve a problem, but the competition was just amazing this year for our PhD award. So I'm glad that we didn't even have to, we could just write Negin off, because she already got, like, you know, so many awards. If we gave her another one, how can she carry them away? So thank you for all you've done for us. Next, we have our second winner is the master's level award. Again, the university level award for, they give two, one in sort of techie areas, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and one in, well, everything else, I guess. So our winner at the master's level is Seitor Zilavu, and he works with Ashton Kelleher, and he gets his shot at coming back and sweeping some more awards later as he's continuing on in our PhD program. So thank you. All right, so next, these are our CS department awards. And we recognize two teaching awards, one for a teaching assistant and one for a graduate student who's an instructor of record. And so our first award for graduate teaching assistant goes to Akash Gautam, who has been, who for us has taught at least 4 terms, I believe 3 courses, and he was instructor for 2 courses. So he's done quite a varied service record for us, and we appreciate all your hard work. at the Instructor of Record Award, in other words, a grad student who's the instructor for the class. Our winner is Linda Kota. And so this is pretty amazing in some ways. So she's been here 4 years. Every semester, and I believe in the summers, she has been, she's been either a GTA or an instructor every term, including summers. And I believe she was the instructor of record 6 times. Mostly she's been doing 1114. I believe she almost pretty much owns that course at this point, which means she is the introduction to computer science for most of the people in the program right now. So thank you very much for all your work. All right. Service award, we're going to split that with 2 people who have similar contributions and are both graduating this semester. Our 2 past presidents for grad council. And so the first one is James Davis. So he was grad council last year, and throughout the years has been continuously contributing to the department in many, many different ways. And thank you very much. And our second service award to Ian Cazzaroni, who is this year's outgoing grad council president. And so if our next grad council can live up to what these 2 have done for us, then they're doing a great service to the department. Grad council plays a really critical role in the life of the department, giving the grad students a voice, and definitely making a difference for us. So thank you very much. All right, next, of course, since Sator got a university award, we could, take him off the list. So give someone else a chance. And so our MS Student of the Year is Miles France, who has been contributing to us both in a service role on Graduate Council, another important person there, and also with his research work, contributor on 2 good papers. Thank you very much. And again, like Sator, he's not going away on us. He's continuing on to PhD. So, thank you. All right, PhD Student of the Year Award. This gave me some problems because we got something like 10 nominees. And I'd say it's no exaggeration that at least 5 of them could in any normal year have been the winner. And thankfully, I didn't have to try and put Nagin in that mix because she already got her pile of awards, which doesn't mean that these others might not, it's just amazing. The level of quality of the PhD nominees is just outstanding. And if we could get this level of quality every year, just our reputation is going to shoot through the roof. This was just amazing. But we eventually settled down on 2 particular awards to give. And so the first one, Aditya Pratapa, who has, aside from in general what you'd consider a really strong publication record, but then you look at where he's been publishing, and these are in his field very reputable journals, and in particular his advisor is quite proud of a paper in Nature Methods. And another separate thing is that he is a winner of an award called the Dream Challenge. And Again, his advisor is very proud to say that we understand that, so normally this is a team thing, right? Normally teams win this, and he's the one time that an individual won this on their own. So congratulations. And our other PhD Student of the Year award goes to John Wenskovich, who he's the other Triple Crown winner. He was with grad council. There's a little history here where it lapsed for a couple of years, and we restarted it, and mostly on John's back. He was the one who got this going with help from Jamie and people like that. So he won the service award a couple of years ago. He won the teaching award, I believe, last year for instructor of record, because he's been teaching a lot of classes for us. But what he's here for today is the research award. And if you look at his vita and you look at his list of publications, this thing goes on and on and on and on. So when you add all of that up, that he did all of that while teaching a lot. Unfortunately, I guess he can't unmute his mic to answer my burning question. John, do you ever sleep?
I can unmute my mic, and no, I don't sleep nearly enough. I also do amateur astronomy, so I'm up all night anyway.
All right. Well, here's your chance. You deserve it. Part of the award is an all expense 2 nights to stay asleep in bed. All right. Thank you. And that concludes my list of awards.
Now we're back to me, and I get a chance to brag on some of our faculty colleagues, which is one of my favorite things to do. So we're going to acknowledge an award and recognize actually 7 of our colleagues for various contributions to the department. The first 3 are actually College of Engineering awards that have not technically been publicly announced. So this is a secret. Those of you, I know there's many of you that are like madly live tweeting this event. Keep it down for the next 3 awards, all right? These are embargoed, I think, technically until next week sometime. But too bad. We're here to celebrate, and so we're going to embarrass and recognize these people. So the first of these 3 college awards is a teaching award, College Excellence in Teaching Award. And this year we were very pleased to learn that Margaret Ellis is the recipient of this award. Each year the college gives, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 of these across the whole College of Engineering. Margaret is an absolute cornerstone of our teaching program here. She's a phenomenal classroom teacher. She leads development and updates to 2 of our most important courses, sophomore level courses. She's a great role model for many undergraduate students who simply come to her for advice. And there's a line out the door back when we were allowed to have lines by our doors. And then more recently, just in the last year or 2, she's really taken a leadership role in a big research project and has shepherded a big team of undergraduate researchers that are engaged in that. So congratulations, Margaret. Our second college level award that we're announcing but not tweeting is a College Excellence in Research Award. And this year, Kirk Cameron is receiving one of those. Again, it's a very select award that only goes to a very small handful of faculty members across the entire College of Engineering. And these college awards, I might add, they focus on really just sort of the last 2 years. So they're not necessarily lifetime achievement awards. They recognize an amazing level of productivity and excellence just over the last couple of years. And Kirk, of course, the backstory there is Kirk has a day job as associate department head. I'm going to say a little more about that in a minute. But in his research career, he's been extremely productive for many, many years, and especially the last few years, he and students were recognized with a couple of best paper awards in very prestigious conferences. His work, his research has been applied in Department of Energy labs and in companies, and it's been featured at NSF when they talk about the impact of their funding. And then probably the biggest highlight of his accomplishments over the last couple of years is he's the PI and the leader of what's the biggest NSF funded project in our department right now that involves really dozens of students and many, many collaborators. And it's a big scientific enterprise and also a big sort of management exercise to lead that many researchers in a high profile project like that one. So congratulations to Kirk. There he is, looking casual. We appreciate you. And then the third college level award that we're going to acknowledge and recognize and celebrate is for Tanu Mitra, who was named one of the outstanding new assistant professors this year. Again, they only give a few of these each year to assistant professors in our college. And these awards recognize faculty members who are early in their career. Tanu's just finishing her third year, who are contributing and really excelling across the whole mission of a faculty member's life. So that's certainly research, and Tanu is very well known and is building a tremendous record. She studies the use and misuse of information in large-scale, social media platforms, which is obviously a super relevant topic nowadays. But also, she's made great contributions to our teaching mission and creating new courses and bringing really interesting applied data science, social science kind of topics into our courses. And then she's been very active in service, both in the department and in her professional community. So we're really excited that the college recognizes that, and we're glad to celebrate that. Hey, Tanu, congratulations. Now we're going to do 3 awards that are at the department level. We just started doing this last year, but as the department grows and there's so much going on, we really wanted to take time to recognize sort of annually people who kind of go above and beyond in contributing to the various missions of our department. And so these recognize outstanding records over many years, but they especially focus on just contributions this year. So this year we want to recognize Eli Tilovich, Dr. Tilovich, for his outstanding contributions in teaching. Eli has long been a wonderfully creative and energetic teacher in our department. He's been a very active and productive mentor of graduate students. This year alone, he has 6 or 7 PhD students, of whom 3 or 4, I think, are about to finish. Right now, he's probably marking up dissertations, in fact. But in the classroom this year, his contributions were also really outstanding. This semester, he's finishing up a large graduate course in research methods, where he's brought in some new elements and made some important adjustments there. And then probably the stellar accomplishment this year was in the fall when he taught over 200 students in our CS 3304, the comparative languages class. And to rave reviews. I mean, it's fun to read the comments that students write and the sort of appreciation they show. I wrote down some of the words. If you did a word cloud of the comments for his class, again and again, you see things like passionate, engaged, active, enthusiastic, and even fun. So I don't know, is Eli with us tonight?
Wow.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very, very much. The next award is a service award. I'm going to go off script just for a couple minutes. And that is, when I think about service to the department, there's kind of a weird dynamic here in the following sense. And I'm going to sort of call out and embarrass our 4 associate department heads. Because in terms of service to the department, those 4 individuals are off the charts, and especially they have been this year. And so in some sense, if we're going to give this award based on just pure service to the department, it's going to be these 4 every year. And so in a sense, it's kind of like the old days with the Olympics, right? Professionals don't qualify. So this category is now outstanding service by a faculty member, amateur division, no offense. But let me talk about the associate department heads for like 30 seconds each, because they've had a crazy productive and impactful year, and we would be in deep water without each of them. So alphabetically, Professor Ali Butt is our associate department head for faculty development. The only thing he did this year is lead the biggest faculty search enterprise we've ever had. Over 400 applications, over 100 30-minute Zoom interviews, more than 30 on-site interviews with candidates, closing the deal on a very nice number of new faculty members that will be joining us next year. So huge thanks to Ollie, unbelievable amount of work. We couldn't have done it without him, obviously. Dr. Kirk Cameron, the aforementioned Dr. Cameron. He's our associate head for research and external engagement. All kinds of things going on in that field, obviously. External engagement includes alumni relations, publicity and marketing, corporate relations. First among equals in terms of what's taken a lot of time and had a huge impact on our department, both now and the future, is that Kirk missed a meeting or something and we named him blockchain czar. And so now he's led just a huge effort that's taken a lot of energy, and it's generated a lot of great interest and opportunity for our department in this whole space of blockchain, including a symposium, a summit last fall that was very successful and got all kinds of national attention and so on. So thank you to Kirk for all that work. Next comes Dr. Steve Edwards. You've already met him, but as associate head for undergraduate, another crazy busy year. You know, we don't even remember everything, but he led us through an ABET accreditation process. He got 2 new majors approved. That's a huge undertaking. He helped us cope with the biggest enrollment ever, which is only the biggest until the next semester when it's the big, and then it's the biggest. He hired 2 new advisors. I'm sure I'm forgetting a whole bunch of stuff. He's helped us think really hard about how to deal with certain enrollment bumps that happen. Remember when that happened? So a huge year for Dr. Edwards as well, and thank you for your service. And then finally, Dr. Schaefer, who just got off camera. Dr. Schaefer is our associate head for graduate studies. Another crazy busy year. He almost single-handedly defined and ushered through a new graduate program, a new graduate degree, the Master's of Engineering degree. He led us, again, through record enrollment and growth. And he and Steve both attend, not quite countless, because we're computer scientists and we know what countable means, but a lot of meetings thinking about growth and the innovation campus and the so-called tech talent pipeline, yada, 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 yada. So huge efforts from all 4 of those folks. Thank you very much. We all owe you a great debt. Back to the original programming, Dr. Godmar Bach, normal human division, has made huge contributions to our department for many years as well. So we're excited to be able to recognize that tonight with this small token of our appreciation. So Dr. Bach, again, I'm sure I'll forget something, but some of the things that come to mind just in the last few years, he's led our graduate admissions committee for many years, which is a huge undertaking, 700-800 applicants, many years to try to figure out how to process. In that connection, he's built some really useful software infrastructure to help faculty parse all those applications, do reviews, rate them, and so on. He's also built some incredibly useful software infrastructure to help the department sort of track the progress of all the graduate students and evaluate their performance and so on. He gives great leadership to the programming team program, which is much more than just a few individuals. It's really one part student organization, one part outreach arm, because they sponsor high school programming contests and they represent us extremely well, not just in competitions, but in the sort of larger competitive programming community, which is actually a pretty big deal. He's a super willing servant in the department for anything. If we need advice, thinking about technology, new platforms for teaching, thinking about faculty candidates, he's been extremely helpful in engaging with faculty candidates, asking extremely good questions at faculty seminars, and on and on and on. So for that and many other reasons, we want to thank Godmar and recognize him with this award. Are you out there, sir?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Godmar. And then finally, 2 more awards. Outstanding Contribution in Administrative Service Award. And this is another case where we have to give 2, because these 2 women joined the department at about the same time, do more or less the same job, and are incredibly complementary and helpful in the mission of the student services piece of our department, in particular academic advising. And so we're going to recognize both Tanisha Montgomery and Ryan Underwood. I guess alphabetically, Tanisha comes up first, but the things I'm going to say apply to both of them. So they joined within weeks of each other back in the fall, just before the fall semester in 2018. And as I think back to that time, in hindsight, if I think about, what could have gone sideways, what could have gone wrong? There's a lot of stuff. And these two colleagues just fixed a lot of things and really rescued us in many ways. They joined the department at a time when that office almost, virtually 100% changed over in terms of personnel. And so they inherited very little institutional memory, almost a blank sheet of paper on how to run that office at scale, because our enrollment was growing. When they joined, I'm sure we had close to 900 majors, which divided by 2 advisors, the only 2 advisors, that's about twice the number that the industry says an advisor should have, right? 500 each almost. And then it kept growing. And so when I think of them, besides just thank you, I think of the kind of the culture and the tone and the sort of reputation for fair, caring, effective advising that I think our office has. It's a challenge to run a fair, consistent, efficient advising process at the kind of scale we're talking about. And I think they've done an amazing job. They've helped us build a culture and a foundation that we can now build on as we continue to grow. So first, thank you, Tanisha. Is she out there? Yes, she is. And then also thank you and congratulations to Ryan. Appreciate you guys very, very much. All right, so that's the faculty awards, and we listed a few others here. I'm not going to embarrass each of these people individually, but there's a really impressive list here of things to celebrate this year. A couple of our colleagues, Kurt and Hoda, were recognized by their alma mater, which a friend of and colleague of ours, Sean Arthur, used to say, a fine university, Purdue University. That's an inside joke. We were excited to recruit and welcome Demetrius Nikolopoulos to the department, and he's received the John Hancock Chaired Professorship, which is a very, very big deal. Ali and Shandon, Ali Butt and Shandon Reddy, were both recognized as distinguished members of the ACM this year. And then the last 3 names you see down there, Matt Hicks, Steve Jen, and Na Meng, each won very prestigious early career research awards from funding agencies, from DARPA and from NSF respectively. So we wanted to make sure to again acknowledge that. I think the next slide has a list of a representative list. I don't pretend that that's a complete list. I'm sure we missed a few, but best paper awards of various kinds at conferences. For the students that don't know a lot about this, it's actually a very big deal. Our faculty publishes consistently in extremely competitive and respected journals and conferences. Competitive in the sense that it's hard to get a paper in many of these venues. And so then each of these venues then often identifies some very small number, like 1, 2, 3 contributions as best in some category. And so to win one of those is a great accomplishment and reflects extremely well on the students and the faculty and the collaborators that were involved in each of those publications. So again, congratulations to each of you. Our last element tonight is to take a few minutes to recognize a couple of incredibly distinguished alums. For about the last decade or more, we've recognized one distinguished alum each year. And of course, we normally bring them to campus and have a lot of fun interacting with them and introducing them to students. We haven't been able to do it this year, but we're doing it virtually, and hopefully sometime next year we can figure out a way to welcome these folks to campus. This year we added a second award, and it's for an early career alum for lots of good reasons. We're following the lead of the college in this regard. They do an early career award as well. Also because we have a lot of alum, approaching 7,000 or so now, a lot of alums, many of whom are quite young, doing amazing things. And so we want to make sure to recognize people who have been in their career for quite a while, but also someone who's only been out, 5, 10, at the most 15 years. Both of the awardees tonight, they have some things in common. When you step back and sort of look at them, both of these folks combine in a really interesting and gratifying way the sort of technical excellence that you associate with a CS degree from a place like Tech, but also ut prosum, quite frankly, the desire to serve, the desire to see technology and computing make a positive difference in people's lives and in communities and in places where there's great need. And that's a powerful combination. And it's a great example to all of us. So our first awardee tonight, he may be with us live. I think I saw him a minute ago, but I know we have a pre-recorded video as well. But Mario Calixte, as you can see in the slide there, completed his bachelor's here in 2010. Wonderful story. He and 4 of his fellow Haitians came to Blacksburg, extremely brave and courageous to just try this and finish their last couple of years of their bachelor's degree. And made a really big impact on the department, Mario especially, but I know he would say his friends and fellow Haitians that were part of that group are incredible people as well. And then Mario stayed on and did a master's degree in 2012 in instructional design. And then he's gone back and just reinvested in his home country in all kinds of ways. This slide really just is the tip of the iceberg, but he's been involved in lots of nonprofits and in educational initiatives and on and on and on. And it's very clear that that's important to him, giving back, and especially giving back to Haiti, which is his home country.
My name is Mario Calixte. I'm from Haiti. I'm the first recipient of the Distinguished Young Alumni Award from the Department of Computer Science at Virginia Tech. Yes, I'm from Haiti. You may have heard somehow about Haiti. This country has never known a moment of peace since its independence in 1804. Chronic political instability, natural disasters, rampant corruption, disease, to say the least, have been our daily breads. This country has been trapped for years in circles of political and economic dysfunction. We have been through that, but we are a resilient people. Our surviving spirit is phenomenal. I'm telling you all this is because in this pandemic, global pandemic, you may have doubts about the future. You may ask yourself what life will look like when this is all over. You may ask yourself when and will the economy recover. You need to have faith that things will be back to normal. Worrying about the future will not solve a thing. I know it's hard to focus with so much going on around the world. Leave your worries to God. Just live in the moment and adapt yourself to the situation. You have to be courageous during these trying times. In a crisis like this, I'm inviting you to adopt different routines and follow the rules. Stay in touch remotely and stay fit. As we yearn for normality to return, we need to stay safe and healthy. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mario. We appreciate very much those words, and knowing a little bit about the story behind that makes them even more powerful. So again, congratulations, and we wish you nothing but the best, and I hope we can figure out a way to get you and your family here sometime in the year ahead. It would be great to welcome you back to Blacksburg. Our second award then is our Distinguished Alum Award that it goes to Joshua Mindell. So Joshua has a master's degree from our department. He also has a bachelor's degree, his undergrad degree in civil engineering from Virginia Tech. And then he went on to do graduate degrees at Carnegie Mellon University. And so Joshua is an accomplished technologist and manager in a little company called Google, which most of us have heard of, and has had a wonderful career in those respects. But I think what really stands out when you study Josh's career and when you read what he's written and listen to him talk, is that he's another person who takes ootProsim very seriously. He's a person with great curiosity about the world. He's traveled extensively. He's a person with, I would describe it as courage and just sort of leadership in terms of setting an example of how to think about your life and how to spend it. He's spent, as you can see in the slide here, he's spent years working for UNICEF and other NGOs in countries overseas, both in Africa and Southeast Asia. And I know that's a huge part of his story. So Joshua's with us tonight, and we'd like to ask him, first of all, congratulate him on this award, and then ask him just to share a few comments with the folks that are on board here. Josh?
Thank you. So I want to just tell a real short tale here. I got into computer science through civil engineering. I chose civil actually because I wanted to study engineering and I really wanted to be outside a lot. I did a bunch of co-ops as an undergrad to figure out what particular type of work that I wanted to do. And frankly, by the end of my degree, what I really knew is I didn't want to practice as a civil engineer. I had done an independent study during my undergrad to write some code in Fortran, actually, if anyone can imagine, to automate some really tedious engineering calculations. And what I came to realize was I really was super interested in the tool and not so interested in the problem I was trying to solve. And so, you know, yada, 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 I ended up deciding to become a computer scientist, and I enrolled in the program. My experience, you know, as a grad student in the CS department here was terrific. It was phenomenal, really. It had a really large impact on my outlook. It really taught me to think abstractly. I mean, aside from all the technical stuff, it really just taught me to think very abstractly. And, you know, I can't really put my finger on a particular course or instructor, but I think it was just the mix of working really hard with students just, you know, mixed from all over the world and just all together. But, you know, after 2.5 years of grad school and internships, I was really burned out. I had to sign in my office in late 1985 that said GBNY, as in Gone by New Year's. And I left Blacksburg in January, thinking I was probably just a couple of weeks away from scheduling my defense for my master's. But, you know, I took some time off, I rested, I started a new job. I was in DC, had lots of fun. And it turned into months and months of pain to actually kind of reload all that state knowledge and get the momentum and finish this degree. And so huge shout out to Mary Miller, who I've been friends with since studies, for proverbially kicking me in the butt to finish the degree, because I was actually wavering on even, was it worth the pain? My mindset at that time was really on exploring the globe and just really using computer science as a ticket to do that. I was much more passionate about finding better ways to use existing tech than really to developing new tech. You know, like the proverbial coffee cup, I was much more interested in finding new ways to use this thing than to develop, you know, new versions of this thing. You know, I worked for a bunch of years, probably half dozen years in DC, and actually back in Blacksburg for a while. But pretty much every single vacation day that I had, I would travel through corners, you know, urban and remote corners of Southeast Asian countries. I just felt this really instinctual connection to like less advantaged populations, and just where people were really striving and actively struggling to improve their lot in life. It taught me to separate this concept of quality of life from standard of living, which I completely conflated before, but it really helped me separate that out. And I was really itching to do something much more service oriented, something more international, frankly, something, you know, much more adventurous as well. And so I decided to become a United Nations volunteer. Someone asked me just recently, like in the last week or two, why didn't I just volunteer locally and just continue my cushy lifestyle? And it was an interesting question. And to me, I was looking for something immersive, where I would really be forced to adjust, because to me that adjustment was a really positive thing. It would just, it was satisfying to learn to adjust and figure out that, you know, I can operate in this place that's completely, literally very foreign to me, as well as just grow a lot from that. And so in West Africa, I volunteered with UNICEF as a Peace Corps co-sponsored United Nations volunteer. There's a lot of other organizations involved in there. We did emergency management at the UNICEF Liberia office in Monrovia, and this was in the middle of Liberia's civil war. After most of a year there, I headed to Vietnam, where I worked on the information side of disaster management. This year, actually, I published a couple of articles about choice and chance. Choice in the sense of how I came to making the choice to go volunteer in West Africa, and chance in the sense of the opportunities that arose that allowed me to start and do the things I did in Vietnam. I volunteered in Vietnam for a year and ended up staying a total of 4. After 1 year of volunteering, I did consulting with more with the UN and also with a really old computer company that some folks in the audience may remember, Digital, DEC. I worked for DEC Asia Pacific for a couple of years. I later went and got a PhD at Carnegie Mellon, and then taught a couple of years at a university in San Francisco. I've been at Google the last 13 years, at YouTube the last 7. I'm in data engineering there, and Cal, as you said, I manage a team of technical program managers. So let me just make a couple final points and bring it back to CS here. One of my most fun memories of studying was actually in Sean Arthur's compiler class. It was really demanding. I learned a lot. And whenever we would complain to him about how difficult or time consuming the assignments were, he'd always wave us off and go, my 5-year-old could do this. This is 1984, 85, for those of you that know him very well. At the end of the term, of course, we were all really dying to meet his 5-year-old. Because, wow, you know. 2, I have a handful of university degrees. And if I measure them with this metric that I use, which is like the ratio of impact on my outlook to amount of effort I invested in it, of all my university degrees, by far the master's in CS at Virginia Tech would score really high in that. And that gets back to the abstraction and just how it really expanded my mind and it made a dramatic impact, aside from the career and the credentials to go, you know, do such and such. and third, and just to finish, I really appreciate this award. It's quite a treat. And I really wish I was in Blacksburg, meeting everyone else that you've been talking about for the last hour. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you very much, Joshua. We appreciate that. I think Sean probably would have used the term Kinderspiel. I've heard him say that many times. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much. I think that's, your experience and your words are inspiring. And I hope for many of our students many of whom have already accepted jobs and sort of think they have a plan, but I think there is freedom to imagine different possibilities and different paths. And I hope that this university, prepares all of you as well as I think it did Joshua to explore some of those paths. So that's our program for tonight. Thank you so much for joining in. I want to make sure to thank Brittany Rasmussen, especially, who kind of organized this whole thing. Huge kudos to her. She even looked for an applause track, and we decided that was just too cheesy. We couldn't come up with a good solution. But everything else, thank you so much for doing that. To the students, again, thank you, especially to those who are about to graduate, the seniors and some of the graduate students who are about to graduate. Congratulations. We're so proud of you. We wish we could give you the usual sort of accolades, but this will have to do for now. But please stay in touch. Find an excuse to come back. We don't, this strangeness does not diminish from the accomplishment at all. It just puts kind of a funny color on it for a little while, right? But congratulations. I hope the next few weeks go really well, and we wish you well for the next steps as well. Thank you for joining. Have a great night. See you later. Wait, hold it. We got some words. Go ahead and roll that as we leave. We gathered some testimonies from various students, and so this is again just a sample of some of the words of appreciation that students have made for various staff and faculty members in the department. So this will just take a couple of minutes to run, but check it out.